What if everything you thought you knew about consciousness was wrong? What if science's greatest secret wasn't hidden in a lab, but buried beneath the ancient streets of Prague, guarded by myths, symbols, and a monster born of legend? Tonight, we dive into Dan Brown's The Secret of Secrets, a breathtaking thriller where Robert Langdon once again races against time to unravel mysteries that could change the world forever. Stay tuned, because what begins with an out-of-body experience in a snowy city ends with revelations that question the very nature of life itself. The novel opens in Prague. Dr. Brigitte Gessner, a neuroscientist, finds herself floating outside her body, convinced she's experiencing death itself, or perhaps just an out-of-body hallucination. As she struggles to comprehend it, a terrifying clay-covered figure, the golem, tortures her on a machine she herself had built. He demands secrets about a hidden underground project. When she reveals them, he condemns her. She and her colleagues have built an underground house of horrors. He vows destruction before leaving her to die. Her last thought: she must warn the others, but it's too late. Robert Langdon wakes up in Prague's Four Seasons Hotel, enjoying the luxury of the royal suite. He's not alone. Catherine Solomon, the brilliant scientist from the Lost Symbol, is with him. The two have grown close, their relationship shifting from friendship to romance. The night before, Catherine delivered a stunning lecture on consciousness, challenging the very idea that the mind is confined to the brain. Langdon plans his morning swim, while Catherine lingers, still shaken by a vivid nightmare. The story shifts to the streets of Prague. A hulking figure known only as the golem trudges through the snow. His clay-smeared face bears the Hebrew letters YEMET, truth. He recalls extracting a confession from neuroscientist Brigitte Gessner, who revealed details of a dark underground project. He vows to destroy it. Across the channel in London, a man named Finch anxiously awaits word from Gessner, sensing something has gone terribly wrong. Langdon jogs through Prague's enchanting streets, marveling at its preserved beauty. The city feels like a living history book, suspended between myth and modernity. As he crosses Charles Bridge, memories of his deepening bond with Catherine surface, their laughter, their first kiss in Old Town Square. For Langdon, Prague has become the backdrop of both romance and mystery. At Strahov Swimming Center, Langdon slips into his usual meditative rhythm. His thoughts drift back to Catherine's lecture, her bold claim that consciousness doesn't originate in the brain. She compared it to the flat Earth model and geocentrism, once accepted, now disproven. Langdon leaves unsettled, realizing Catherine's research may shatter accepted science. Crossing Charles Bridge again, Langdon encounters a haunting sight: a woman in black, wearing a spiked crown like a halo and holding a silver spear, an image that mirrors Catherine's nightmare. The woman drifts past like a specter, reeking of death. Panic grips Langdon. Convinced Catherine is in mortal danger, he races back to the hotel, pulls a fire alarm, and bursts into their suite. But Catherine is gone. The tolling of church bells fills him with dread, and in desperation, he leaps from the window into the icy Vltava River. Meanwhile, the golem retreats to his apartment, a pitch-black sanctuary where he practices strange rituals. Naked and covered in clay, he sees himself as a guardian to a woman he loves from afar. His devotion is obsessive, warped into something spiritual. He watches her in silence, convinced only he truly understands her. In New York, Catherine's editor Jonas Falkman burns the midnight oil at Penguin Random House. He finally has her manuscript, a bold exploration of human consciousness. He believes it could be a landmark work. But his night is interrupted. A hacker has penetrated Catherine's secure virtual workspace. Someone is already trying to steal her secrets. Back in Prague, Catherine walks through the city toward Brigitte Gessner's lab. She is unaware that Gessner has already been murdered. The meeting is a trap. Beneath the charm of the city, danger coils. Langdon claws his way out of the Vltava's freezing waters, barely surviving hypothermia. Hotel staff and security confront him. He struggles to explain what he saw on Charles Bridge: the crowned woman, the spear, the stench of death. His words sound delusional even to himself. But one thought dominates: Catherine must be found. The golem broods in his hidden sanctuary. He reflects on the secrets Gessner confessed and the atrocities she and her colleagues committed. He convinces himself his mission is divine. He must obliterate their underground creation before it unleashes horror on the world. Langdon is confined in his suite by hotel security until authorities can question him. He finds a note from Catherine. She went on foot to Gessner's lab. Relief washes over him. She's alive, but dread soon follows. If Gessner is compromised, Catherine is walking into danger. Catherine arrives at the lab and notices subtle signs of unease. Security seems tense, and Gessner is nowhere to be found. Her instincts tingle, but she pushes forward, determined to see the research facility. In London, Finch grows restless. Gessner hasn't called, and her silence feels wrong. He realizes her disappearance might be tied to Catherine Solomon's upcoming book, a work that could destabilize the world if released unchecked. Langdon braves the streets of Prague to pursue Catherine. He navigates centuries-old landmarks, racing against time, feeling the city's deep undercurrent of mysticism. Every step draws him deeper into a maze of symbols and shadows. At Gessner's lab, Catherine descends into the underground facility. The deeper she goes, the more unsettled she becomes. The architecture feels sterile, secretive, more fortress than research center. The golem sharpens his mission. To him, Catherine is both sacred and endangered. He stalks the city's shadows, convinced that only through destruction can he save her. Langdon finds himself cornered by Prague police, who suspect him of causing chaos at the hotel. He struggles to convince them of the urgency, but his words fall flat. He slips away, determined to reach Catherine at any cost. Inside the underground corridors, Catherine notices ominous machinery. Data banks hum with experiments that defy conventional science. Something unnatural is happening here. Finch makes calls to powerful connections, setting wheels in motion. Catherine's work is no longer just her own. It has drawn the attention of forces capable of reshaping nations. Langdon deciphers clues hidden in Prague's historic symbology. He suspects the city itself is the map to Catherine's location, every spire and statue a breadcrumb leading him forward. The golem meditates on his sacred bond with the woman he protects. His thoughts blur the line between guardian and stalker, protector and executioner. Catherine uncovers disturbing evidence, experiments involving consciousness projection, out-of-body states, and manipulation of human thought. She realizes the facility may not just be unethical, it may be catastrophic. Langdon slips into hidden passageways beneath Prague, using his knowledge of medieval architecture. Each dark corridor brings him closer to Catherine, and deeper into peril. Finch receives fragments of intelligence that confirm his fears. Catherine's manuscript, combined with what's happening in Prague, could trigger global upheaval. He must act. Catherine's unease deepens. She finds chambers resembling torture rooms, filled with strange apparatus. The House of Horrors, Gessner mentioned, is real. The question is, who controls it now? Langdon arrives near the lab complex, but finds it heavily guarded. He realizes brute force won't get him inside. He must rely on symbols, history, and intellect. The golem draws closer to Catherine. He believes she is entangled in forces she cannot understand, and that only by destroying the lab can he save her soul. Catherine comes face to face with the horrifying truth. The facility has been experimenting with human consciousness in ways that cross ethical and spiritual boundaries. Before she can process it, she is trapped, cornered in the depths of the underground labyrinth, her fate uncertain. Langdon slips deeper into Prague's twisting alleys, still trying to reach Catherine. The city feels alive with secrets. He recognizes symbols etched into buildings, remnants of alchemy and mysticism that suggest Prague itself was designed as a map to hidden knowledge. Every detail tells him Catherine's entanglement is part of something much larger. Catherine, trapped within Gessner's underground facility, is led through chambers by mysterious escorts. The deeper she goes, the more it resembles a clandestine fortress rather than a scientific lab. The air is cold, sterile, and heavy with dread. She knows she's no longer in a place of research, but of control. The golem prowls through his blackened sanctuary, preparing for war. He believes the time has come to annihilate the underground complex. His clay-smeared forehead glistens with sweat as he chants ancient prayers, convinced his mission is divinely sanctioned. Langdon evades surveillance on the streets by blending into early morning crowds. He recalls Catherine's words from her lecture, "Consciousness is not confined to the brain," and wonders if the visions he saw on Charles Bridge were not hallucinations, but echoes of a deeper reality. Catherine is forced to observe experiments firsthand. Subjects strapped into machines undergo induced out-of-body experiences. Electrodes crackle with energy as scientists record consciousness projections. Catherine is horrified. What she studied as theory is being weaponized. Finch, in London, intensifies his efforts. He realizes Catherine's discoveries, combined with the Prague experiments, could destabilize global systems. He begins coordinating with shadowy organizations, desperate to control the fallout. Langdon follows symbols, leading him toward Prague Castle. He recalls legends of King Rudolph II and alchemists John Dee and Edward Kelly, men who believed Prague was a nexus of hidden knowledge. Langdon suspects Catherine's research has been drawn here for the same reason. The golem stalks Catherine's trail, convinced she is in imminent danger. He tells himself he is her protector, yet his violent actions betray his obsession. He sharpens his resolve. If saving her requires bloodshed, so be it. Catherine confronts a scientist inside the facility, demanding answers. The man coldly explains that consciousness can be separated, stored, and potentially transferred. The implications shake her to her core. Humanity itself could be redefined. Langdon sneaks into a hidden passage beneath Prague Castle, using his knowledge of symbology to decode ancient markings. The air is thick with history. He feels he's walking through centuries of secrecy, each stone whispering warnings. Finch's sources confirm Catherine's manuscript is already compromised. Hackers have fragments, but the full truth lies in Prague. He knows if it reaches the wrong hands, the balance of power worldwide could collapse. Catherine attempts to escape the lab, but locked doors and silent guards box her in. She realizes she is not a guest, she's a prisoner. The facility's leaders intend to use her research for their own agenda. Langdon deciphers a series of cryptic Latin inscriptions that point him toward the Vltava River's depths. He begins to suspect the underground complex is linked directly to Prague's foundations, hidden beneath layers of history. The golem breaks into a restricted storage chamber. Inside, he finds records of the facility's experiments, proof of atrocities committed in the name of science. His hatred deepens. He vows to tear it all down. Catherine comes face to face with her captors. They praise her work, but insist it belongs to them now. Her protests fall on deaf ears. For them, consciousness isn't a mystery to be explored. It's a weapon to be wielded. Langdon, hunted by police and shadow operatives, hides inside Prague's astronomical clock tower. He studies its symbols, realizing the city's architecture itself is a guide to the secrets Catherine is uncovering underground. Finch pressures his contacts in Prague to contain the situation, but he learns forces beyond his control are already moving. The city has become the epicenter of a global struggle. The golem narrowly escapes capture in the city streets. Police call him a madman, but he believes he is on a divine mission. He slips back into shadows, waiting for the moment to strike. Catherine is shown a chamber where human consciousness is being projected into machines. She sees spectral images flickering on screens, proof that minds can be displaced from bodies. The sight terrifies her. This isn't research, it's possession. Langdon decodes more symbols that point toward Old Town Square. He recalls the legend of defenestrations in Prague, when truth was forced into the open by violence. He wonders if Catherine's truth will meet the same fate. Finch makes a chilling realization. If Catherine survives and her book is released, she could ignite a revolution in science, religion, and politics. He resolves that she must be silenced, at any cost. The golem performs another ritual, preparing his body with clay and chants. He believes he must descend into the underground labyrinth soon. He is ready to embrace death, if it means completing his mission. Catherine secretly records what she sees in the lab, hiding her notes. She vows to expose the truth. Her scientific passion becomes a weapon of resistance against her captors. Langdon sneaks into the Jewish quarter, tracing connections between Prague's golem legends and the monster pursuing Catherine. He begins to suspect the golem is not a myth, but a man, flesh and blood, driven by obsession. Finch receives alarming intelligence. Langdon has evaded authorities and is closing in on Catherine. He orders operatives to intercept him. Langdon must not reach her first. The golem descends into the hidden tunnels beneath Prague. His heart pounds as he prepares to confront those inside. To him, the descent is not just physical, it is spiritual, a plunge into the underworld to wrestle with evil. Catherine is brought into a central chamber where a massive machine hums with power. Electrodes spark, and she realizes this is the heart of the experiments. The machinery is designed to manipulate human essence itself. Langdon finally finds an entrance to the underground complex. The stale air, the echoing corridors, the oppressive darkness, all confirm his worst fears. Somewhere in this labyrinth, Catherine is waiting. Somewhere in these shadows, the truth of consciousness and humanity hangs in the balance. Langdon edges deeper into the underground facility, his heart pounding as echoes bounce through the stone corridors. The symbols he studied in Prague streets now appear on the walls here, evidence that this place was deliberately built upon layers of ancient mysticism. Catherine is restrained by scientists who prepare her for observation. Electrodes are attached to her temples, and she realizes they intend to test her own brain against the machinery she despises. She resists, but her protests are drowned out by cold commands. The golem advances through the subterranean maze. He moves with silent precision, guided by both instinct and obsession. His clay-smeared skin glistens in torchlight as he prepares for a confrontation he believes is predestined. Langdon discovers a massive chamber filled with glass cylinders. Within them float unconscious subjects suspended in liquid, their brains wired into machines. Horror grips him. This is human experimentation at its most grotesque. Catherine's captors begin her test. As current surges through her skull, she feels herself being pulled outside her body. The sensation is terrifying, yet strangely familiar, echoing her earlier nightmares. The golem attacks a pair of guards, dispatching them with brute force. Their bodies collapse in silence. To him, they are obstacles, not men. His focus remains on Catherine and the destruction of the facility. Langdon flees the chamber, shaken. He wonders how Catherine fits into this nightmare and how much of her research has been co-opted. His mind spins with questions, but his instincts drive him onward. Catherine, mid-experiment, slips into an out-of-body state. She sees herself from above, tethered by threads of light. The scientists watch in awe, confirming their theories. But Catherine feels violated, stripped of autonomy. The golem reflects on his own distorted faith. He believes God has chosen him as a vessel of justice. His devotion to Catherine intensifies. She is the innocent in this labyrinth of sinners, and he must save her. Langdon encounters cryptic engravings etched into steel doors. Using his symbology expertise, he deciphers them as protective talismans, remnants of Kabbalistic magic merged with modern machinery. Catherine fights to break free from the machine's grip. She wills her consciousness back into her body, clinging to her sense of identity. Her defiance shocks the scientists, who record unprecedented results. The golem locates a central control room. He studies monitors, showing the complex's chambers. He sees Catherine bound in a chair, electrodes crackling. Rage consumes him. The time for waiting is over. Langdon is nearly captured by operatives, but escapes into a ventilation shaft. The stale air suffocates him, but the passage leads him closer to the main research chamber. Catherine collapses after the experiment. Her captors whisper among themselves, marveling at her resilience. They decide she may be the key to unlocking consciousness transfer at scale. The golem arms himself with weapons taken from dead guards. His clay-streaked form becomes even more monstrous, as if he is transforming into the very legend he imitates. Langdon overhears two scientists discussing the secret of secrets, the culmination of their work. He realizes this phrase is not metaphorical, but a code name for their ultimate experiment. Catherine regains her strength, feigning weakness while secretly plotting escape. She memorizes the layout of the chamber, every exit in guard position. The golem storms into a security wing, leaving destruction in his wake. Sirens blare as the facility goes into lockdown. Yet he feels no fear, only grim satisfaction. Langdon finally catches a glimpse of Catherine through a viewing window. Relief floods him, but he cannot reach her yet. Guards swarm the area, forcing him to retreat into the shadows. Catherine is moved to another chamber, where a towering machine pulses with unnatural energy. The scientists explain it is designed to project human consciousness beyond physical limits. She recoils in horror. The golem closes in, following the sounds of alarms and distant screams. He chants prayers, convinced he is marching toward destiny. Langdon deciphers another symbol etched into the machinery, an ancient representation of the soul's journey. He realizes the scientists are not only experimenting with consciousness, but also attempting to manipulate humanity's most sacred essence. Catherine is strapped to the new machine. Electrodes hum as power builds. She braces herself, determined to resist whatever they intend to force upon her. The golem bursts into the chamber, slaying guards with ruthless strength. Catherine watches in shock as the clay-smeared monster reveals himself to be her twisted guardian. Langdon seizes the chaos as an opportunity. He slips into the chamber moments after the golem, determined to free Catherine before it's too late. Catherine, caught between terror and relief, realizes both Langdon and the golem have risked everything to reach her. Yet she knows the real enemy remains, the scientists controlling the machine. The golem battles with operatives while shouting cryptic words of devotion to Catherine. Langdon rushes to her side, unfastening her restraints. Their eyes meet, filled with fear but also resolve. Together, Langdon and Catherine flee the chamber as alarms blare. Behind them, the golem continues his rampage. The underground labyrinth trembles with violence and electricity. For the first time, freedom feels within reach, but the pursuit has only just begun. Langdon and Catherine push through the labyrinth's dim corridors, alarms echoing behind them. Catherine trembles, still recovering from the experiment. Langdon steadies her, promising they'll escape, but he knows the dangers are multiplying. The golem, wounded but relentless, continues his brutal assault. His clay-streaked body glistens with sweat and blood. To him, every guard he kills is a sinner struck down in divine judgment. Finch, in London, receives word of the chaos unfolding underground. He realizes he may have underestimated Langdon and Catherine. His orders harden. If containment fails, elimination must follow. Langdon and Catherine stumble into a chamber filled with ancient manuscripts, alchemical texts, mystical diagrams, and centuries-old scrolls. Catherine gasps. The facility has been hoarding knowledge stolen from history. Catherine deciphers symbols on one of the manuscripts, realizing the experiments draw heavily from Kabbalah and Hermetic traditions. The scientists have merged mysticism with modern technology. The golem storms another wing of the facility, but this time he's met with heavily armed forces. A violent clash erupts. Bullets fly, blood spills, but the golem presses on, a monstrous force of nature. Langdon deciphers a hidden passage out of the manuscript chamber. Carved symbols point to an escape route. He and Catherine hurry through, clutching fragments of stolen texts as evidence. Finch issues new directives. Langdon and Catherine must not surface alive. He mobilizes operatives already embedded in Prague, ensuring a net tightens around them. Catherine, still shaken, shares her greatest fear with Langdon, that her work will be twisted into something she never intended. Langdon reassures her, but he too wonders whether some knowledge is too dangerous to reveal. The golem, bloodied but unstoppable, finally reaches the central core of the facility. His eyes fix on the massive machine. He vows to destroy it, even if it costs him his life. Langdon and Catherine emerge into a cavernous chamber beneath Prague, where rivers of water flow through stone tunnels. Catherine recognizes the aqueducts, an escape route if they can survive the current. Finch watches live feeds from the facility collapse into static. His jaw tightens. If the underground project is destroyed, centuries of research vanish, but so do his hopes of controlling it. Langdon and Catherine wade through rushing water, clinging to slick stone walls. The roar of the current threatens to sweep them away. Catherine recalls legends of Prague's hidden rivers carrying secrets beneath the city. The golem smashes equipment in the core chamber. Sparks fly, machinery sputters, alarms intensify. Scientists flee in terror. For him, this is divine justice fulfilled. Langdon and Catherine nearly drown in the underground currents. Langdon uses his knowledge of ancient engineering to guide them toward air pockets and hidden exits. Catherine remembers her nightmare of the crowned woman and the spear. She realizes it was not just a dream but a premonition of what the machine intended to create, a false goddess born of consciousness manipulation. The golem fights off a final wave of guards. Exhausted, he collapses against the burning machinery. As fire erupts around him, he prays, believing his mission complete. Langdon and Catherine burst from a hidden grate into the icy night air above Prague. Gasping for breath, they collapse on cobblestones, finally free of the labyrinth's suffocating grasp. Finch receives confirmation of explosions underground. His expression hardens. Langdon and Catherine must have escaped. He begins planning a wider net across the city. Langdon and Catherine limp through narrow alleys. Catherine clutches her notes, vowing the truth must be told. Langdon knows that every step they take now places them in the crosshairs of powerful enemies. The golem, staggering and burned, somehow survives the inferno. His clay-streaked body crumbles, yet he rises once more. His obsession with Catherine drives him forward, even as death looms. Langdon and Catherine find refuge in an old library hidden within a church. Among ancient texts, Catherine pores over her stolen fragments, connecting threads between mysticism and modern science. Finch orders the seizure of Catherine's manuscript in New York. He knows the physical copy is gone, but digital backups may still exist. His war is fought on both sides of the Atlantic. Catherine explains to Langdon that her research proves consciousness is not confined to matter. If shared, it could shift science and religion alike. Langdon wonders aloud whether humanity is ready. The golem stumbles into the streets above, horrifying passers-by. To them, he looks like a monster pulled straight from folklore. To him, the city itself is his battlefield. Langdon and Catherine argue briefly. He urges caution, she insists on revelation. Their bond strengthens, but the tension underscores the monumental stakes. Finch coordinates with allies inside Prague Castle. He aims to corner Langdon and Catherine within the city's ancient heart, cutting off all routes of escape. Langdon and Catherine reach the astronomical clock tower at dawn. The ancient mechanism ticks above them, a symbol of time running out. They know enemies close in from every side. Yet within these walls, another secret awaits, a truth that could rewrite human history. Langdon and Catherine study the astronomical clock, its intricate gears and symbols pointing to ancient truths. Catherine believes the clock may conceal a code linking Prague's mystical heritage to her own research. Finch sets up surveillance around Old Town Square. His operatives prepare to intercept Langdon and Catherine. He knows they will be drawn to the city's symbolic heart. The golem staggers through the streets, his burned and battered body terrifying onlookers. He is a walking myth come to life, and whispers spread through the crowd that the golem of Prague has returned. Langdon and Catherine decipher hidden inscriptions in the clock tower. They discover a passage leading to a concealed chamber, where manuscripts describe the ancient belief in a soul's journey beyond death. Catherine realizes the machine in the underground lab was modeled on these mystical diagrams. The experiments were not inventions of modern science, but perversions of sacred teachings. Finch grows desperate. He orders his operatives to storm the clock tower. For him, controlling Catherine's knowledge is worth any sacrifice. The golem drags himself into the square, seeing Finch's men surrounding the tower. He bellows in defiance, declaring no one will harm Catherine while he still breathes. Langdon and Catherine discover a vault of artifacts beneath the clock. Among them is a codex describing the secret of secrets, a belief that consciousness is eternal, not bound to the body, and capable of transcending time and matter. Catherine trembles as she reads the ancient words. Her life's work, once considered radical, has roots in centuries of wisdom. She feels both vindicated and terrified. The golem clashes violently with Finch's operatives in the square. Though weakened, he fights with feral strength, scattering enemies and drawing attention away from Langdon and Catherine. Langdon and Catherine realize the codex confirms her discoveries. Humanity's greatest frontier is not space or matter, but consciousness itself. Finch himself enters the fray, furious that Catherine has come this far. He confronts her in the vault, demanding she surrender the codex and her research. Catherine refuses. She argues that the truth cannot be suppressed, that knowledge of consciousness belongs to humanity, not governments or corporations. Langdon stands between Finch and Catherine. He warns Finch that suppressing truth always leads to rebellion. Finch wavers, torn between duty and doubt. The golem, bleeding and broken, stumbles into the vault. His monstrous presence terrifies Finch. With his last strength, he declares that Catherine is under his protection. Finch's operatives retreat, unnerved by the chaos and the public gathering above ground. The square outside is alive with whispers of the golem, Prague's ancient protector reborn. Catherine kneels by the dying golem. For all his violence, she sees the devotion in his eyes. He murmurs that he has fulfilled his purpose. With his final breath, he collapses, Langdon helps Catherine carry the codex out of the vault. As they emerge into the dawn light of Old Town Square, crowds gaze in awe. For them, the night's events feel like a merging of myth and reality. Finch retreats into the shadows, his mission failed. He vows that forces greater than him will continue the fight, but for now, Catherine and Langdon are beyond his reach. Catherine reflects on the journey, her nightmares, the experiments, the revelations. She feels the weight of responsibility. Her book will change everything. Langdon reminds her that knowledge is a double-edged sword. The world may resist her discoveries, but it will also be transformed by them. They leave Prague quietly, blending into departing crowds. Yet both know they will never be the same after what they witnessed. Catherine receives word from Jonas Falkman in New York. He still has fragments of her manuscript. Despite the breaches, her book can be published. The truth will reach the world. Langdon and Catherine walk along the Vltava River. The city glows with morning light, beautiful and eternal. For Langdon, Prague has become a symbol of the eternal struggle between knowledge and power. Catherine confides her lingering fear that humanity is not ready for what she will reveal. Langdon assures her that history's great leaps always come with fear, but they cannot be avoided. The two share a quiet moment, their bond stronger than ever. From the horrors of the underground to the revelations of the Codex, they have faced death and emerged with truth. As the novel closes, Catherine prepares to release her book. The world waits, unaware that the secret of secrets, humanity's eternal consciousness, will soon be laid bare. Langdon, ever the guide through history's mysteries, walks beside her, ready for whatever comes next. Dan Brown's The Secret of Secrets carries Robert Langdon and Catherine Solomon through a maze of history, mysticism, and cutting-edge science, but at its heart it is a meditation on one idea, that human consciousness is far greater than we imagine. From Catherine's lectures to the horrors beneath Prague, from the devotion of the golem to the relentless pursuit of Finch, every thread points to the same revelation, that the mind is not bound by the brain, and the soul is more enduring than flesh. By the end, Langdon and Catherine have not only survived but uncovered a truth capable of shaking science, religion, and politics alike. The golem dies believing he has fulfilled a divine duty, Finch withdraws defeated, and Catherine prepares to release her book to the world. The question that lingers is not whether the secret of secrets is real, it is how humanity will choose to handle it. Will it be embraced as a beacon of enlightenment, or twisted into yet another instrument of control? That is the enduring power of Dan Brown's story. It forces us to confront mysteries that lie not in ancient symbols or hidden vaults, but within ourselves. The secret of secrets, after all, may be the untapped potential of the human mind.